Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from today?
Sure. My name is Sara Roach Lewis. I'm a feminist business strategist and author, and I am in Prince Edward Island, Canada.
Cool. And are you one? This is an off the wall question, but I have to ask, are you experiencing a heat wave in Canada?
No, there are parts of Canada that are, but we're not. We have our nice fall weather right now.
Cool. And I just want to get straight to the business. Can we go ahead and proceed by talking about your past leading up into your present?
Sure. So, my past, I spent most of my career working as in the not-for-profit sector in a small feminist organization. So I really spent almost all of my career supporting women to make transformational change in their lives through a series of programs, at the same time working to address systemic and structural barriers that face women in their business or in their lives, and looking at, from like a public policy perspective, how can we make changes that better impact women. So that was my past. I got quite burnt out, honestly. And when I really looked at my core values, which are gender equality can solve all of the world's problems, and I believe that, women's voices being heard is incredibly important. When I realized that there are a million entry points to that. And so I decided to take my deep experience and understanding of women's experience and of our, the world that we live in, and go into business. So I actually am celebrating this week my 5 years in business, and I was late to the game,
Congratulations.
but oh, thank you. It's really exciting. So I was late to the game, but I once I got here, I really love being in business. So that's really my past and my present. Like I say, I'm a business coach, advisor, an author, and I really help service-based business owners with the business side of their business. So how do you create a solid strategy and a plan that helps you hit those big goals that you have in your business?
Can you tell me a little bit about what you do in coaching? Like when you, because you split, you're a blazing entrepreneur. You dibble and dabbled in a lot. But tell me about your coaching first. Like, do
Sure.
you have like an app for it that the people would want to, you know?
Yeah. So I have a coaching program called Seven Figure Confidence. And the reason why it's called that is the reality that we have right now is 86% of women owned businesses make less than $100,000 a year in their business, and only 2% make more than $1 million a year in annual revenues. And I am on a mission to change that. And so my program is really designed to support women who are at the back end of that, at that, a couple of years in business, but perhaps haven't hit that 100,000 yet, or they're at the 100 and they want to make sure that it's not a fluke and they want to keep going. So what I do is I teach the tools and strategies that you need in order to grow and scale your business. So a lot of it is really practical, Kimberly. I believe in not reinventing a wheel. If there's already a way of doing things, then I teach people how to do that. So, for example, a key component to growing your business is really understanding your numbers, is really understanding, how do I make financial projections that help me make solid business decisions in my business. And so I teach people, I have a spreadsheet, I have a series of spreadsheets that I teach people how to use, so they don't need to figure it out themselves. All they need to do is apply their business information to an existing spreadsheet. I really focus on, in order to grow your business, you need to have a plan. And business entrepreneurs sometimes shy away from that because they want to be nimble and they want to be flexible and they want to be able to sort of go where it makes sense. And a good plan includes that ability to be nimble. It actually allows you to be more flexible than when you're flying by the seat of your pants.
And I read your book. We can go over. I don't want to waste your time. And when I read your book, I seen context shifting. Context shifting. Can you tell us the world a little bit about that? Because we don't have enough time to dig into everything.
Sure. So context shifting came into play in the 80s. And so context shifting is the time that you lose when you shift between tasks. And so a software developer in the 80s was getting frustrated because his very smart engineers kept pooching their deadlines. They would say it was going to be done here, and then they wouldn't get it done on time. So being the engineer brain that he dug into that. And what he discovered is that his team was losing time every time they shifted between tasks. And so, if you can imagine, we've all had those days when we've ended our day, we've worked really, really hard, and yet you think, I have no idea what I got done today.
Yeah.
Right? And so on those days, I will argue that the problem was you were doing too many things. And so when we are looking at, we're in this time now where we want to really focus on habits and routines and making sure that we maximize our time. So what this guy discovered and has been replicated in research over and over again is we lose 20% of our time every time we switch between tasks. So if you're working on your marketing strategy, let's say, and your email notification pops up. And so then all of a sudden you're in your email and you've clicked on a link and now you're on Facebook and 15 minutes has passed or half an hour. And you're like, right, I have to get back to my marketing strategy. Well, you've not only lost the time that it's taken to go down that particular rabbit hole of that thing, the idea around context switching is the time that you lose when you then have to switch back and go, right, okay, what was I thinking about? I started typing who my audience is, but now I kind of forget what I was thinking about. So you have to kind of get yourself back into that mindset, to say nothing of gathering up those tabs on your computer or finding your files. So that's context switching. And the antidote to that is reducing distractions. So turn off the notifications on your phone, turn off the notifications on your computer. And I always say, very few of us are surgeons. Very few of us live in a life and death kind of world. So it does not hurt for us to turn off all of our notifications for half an hour or 40 minutes while we do that deep work so that we don't lose our focus.
Wow. And we get reverted, like you said in the book, by kids, dogs, like you said, the computer, your phone, wow, so powerful. And where all have you been? How many people have you touched? Women have you touched with this book? Like how many of you, like, who have
Oh,
you?
yeah. Well, I launched it in November of 2021. And so, really thousands. I've supported thousands of women in my career. And what I love is the feedback that I get on the book. And so the book is really designed for bite-sized pieces. And it's funny, I have one right here. And when I first got it back from the publisher, I thought, oh, it's not very big. There's yours. I thought it's not very big, but in fact, that's what I wanted. This is designed so that on any day, you can open to any page and have an entrepreneurial bite-sized piece of information that you can apply in your business today to make positive changes. That's really the way that it's designed.
And tell me, where are you with all your your everything that you got going for you right now, being an entrepreneur? Where are you headed in the future?
Well, that's a great question. I am really interested in continuing to share the messages in the book with entrepreneurs. Again, going back to that, I am on a mission to support women to get beyond that $100,000, to get beyond that $200,000. That is when you're making less than $100,000 a year in your business, that is the hardest stage of business. And I say that because I have clients at every stage. And when you're at that stage, you're doing everything on your own. There's so much to do and not enough money to go around. And so, what I do with my program is I help people scale past those particularly challenging stages of business as quickly as possible. And I do that through my book, but I also do that through my training program. And one of the things that I hear all the time from business owners is, I don't have any time. Of course, they don't have time. We particularly don't have time to do the on the business work, right? Like the work that we need to do in order to grow our business, because the client work always takes precedence. So, what I've done is developed a program that there's no homework. You join me on a call, for 90 minutes, and you do all of the training on the call. You do all of the implementation, and with that, it is amazing. I have clients who are doubling their revenues year over year with a really small amount of effort. When it is put in the right place at the right time, you can see transformational change in your business, which changes women's lives. And what we know, when women have more money, they share that with their families, their friends, and in their community. So we're really looking at supporting women to make changes in their business to allow them to spend more time in their zone of genius, bringing what they uniquely do to the world. And the domino effects of that are just extraordinary.
I know you hear it all the time, but I'm definitely proud of you, man. Like, seriously, that is wonderful what you are doing for the community. And women empowerment is something that I am all for. So, the last question I have for you is, if you had to give a young entrepreneur some type of advice that is a woman or a man, what would it be?
Well, I think the advice is done is better than perfect. And we tend to get paralyzed by perfection. We tend to worry so much about what people are going to think. And yet, when we act, when we take imperfect action in our business or in our lives for that matter, that's where the growth happens. That's where our confidence builds. That's where we get experience and we learn. So, my number one piece of advice is just do the thing, whatever it is, and just take that one baby step toward the dreams that you have for your life or your business.
And how can the people reach you?
Well, you can best find me on social media, of course, and my LinkedIn. I love to hang out on LinkedIn, and my handle there is S Roach Lewis. You can also find me on Facebook, and there's not that many Sara Roach Lewises, so if you just search that, you'll find me.
Well, I want to thank you once again for joining my show. Stay on the line. And I just wanted to say thank you all. And I'll be back on here later. Thank you.
Thanks, Kimberly.